So just want to let you guys know a few things before we let everybody introduce themselves tonight. We are trying something new. We are going to do this on Facebook Live tonight. So I hope you guys are okay with that. If you're not, you can turn off your camera, but we would love to have you here. It's actually an amazing opportunity to also gain feedback from other people outside of this container we have here, sharing things that you're working on and maybe getting some support from not just us, but other people on Facebook in the future. So I hope everybody's okay with that. And the first thing we're going to do tonight is kind of go around the room and just introduce ourselves. I would love to know what's one thing that's gone really well this year. I know that's kind of a crazy thing to talk about this year, but I've grown a lot myself. So I would love to know what you guys have learned this year, where you're from, where you're coming from, and what's one thing that you're looking to get out of tonight. So I'm going to choose Crystal to go first, if you don't mind.
Sure. I was just trying to think in my head. I was like, what's gone right this year? I know it can't be that hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a weird year, but
to know what you guys have learned this year, where you're from, where you're coming from. Hang on. What's one thing? Somebody's playing it on Facebook, I think. I'm gonna choose Crystal to go first, you guys.
Oh, I hear the recording.
Yeah, where's that coming from? Hang on one second. Okay, I think we're good. Nobody's playing it on their computer now, right?
I had it up for a second and realized what was going on. Okay. I closed it. Yeah.
No worries. There we go. Thanks a lot. Sorry, Crystal. Go for it again.
Yeah, no worries. So my name is Crystal. I'm from San Diego. What's gone right this year? I've had some really good family time during this COVID time. So spending some good quality time with family is just something that's kind of been on my list of to-dos, and this kind of forced me into it in a good way. So I've been spending a lot of time with them and really enjoying going a little deeper with them.
Very cool. Why'd you come tonight? Why are you looking to get out of this?
You know, I started a passion business a couple years ago and kind of lost the energy trying to balance it with my full-time job. And I've been feeling the motivation lately to hit reset and kind of overcome the challenges that stopped me. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And where are you coming from? Where are you tuning in from?
San Diego. Well, Menifee, but I'm from San Diego.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, you get to choose the next person to go.
Okay. How about Hannah?
Hi, guys. Sorry if I'm a bit slow. It's been a long day here, but I'm really excited to chat with you guys. So my name's Hannah. I'm currently based in Ontario. What were the questions? It's what went well this year.
What went well in this year, and what are you hoping to get out of this event tonight?
Okay. So something that went well this year. Surprisingly, this whole hitting the reset button thing with COVID actually worked out really well for me. Like I was doing really well. And then when COVID happened, I actually lost all of my work and had to completely reinvent. And in the end, that ended up being a good thing because now I'm much more aligned with what I actually want to be doing. I realized that the work I was doing was really frustrating and I wasn't feeling fulfilled at all. So I'm actually in a better place than I was, despite the roller coaster of that journey. And then what I'm getting out of this whole thing is community. So I've been going to a couple of Patrick's things, and every time it just blows me away, like how fascinating all of you interesting people are and what you're all up to, and I get inspired every time. So that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. So you get to choose the next person.
All right. Dan.
Hey, everyone. My name's Dan. I live in LA, but I'm calling in from Canada. Small town called Nelson. It's about 8 hours east of Vancouver. In a co-working space right now.
Awesome.
And the question was, what went right this year?
Yeah, what went well? What went right?
Well, I was able to get over the Canadian border twice this year. That's one thing. And yeah, I finished one of my music album, and I learned a lot about sort of promoting it, and also my consulting business where I actually earn good amount. That's still going pretty well.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
And what are you looking to get out of this event?
Yeah, I just try to come to the WeDeepen events when I can. And yeah, I hit a startup maybe 5-6 years ago. And, you know, I earn decent. My consulting job, I'm not totally passionate about it. I'm grateful for it, but I just keep my eyes open, ears open for some other creative endeavors to maybe be involved with and just to be part of community.
Very cool. Yeah, that's the cool thing about this event too, is that it's not just about like what you are offering. You're also learning from other people's stories, right? You're learning from other people just sharing what they're up to. And our subconscious mind, I love talking about this, and it kind of needs proof sometimes that something is possible to actually bring it into the world. There's a great story of my friend Marina, who talked about that one time where she came on my Croatia trip, and then 2 years later she's now a digital nomad because she saw other people on the trip actually doing that lifestyle. So that's the cool thing about this type of event, is where we get to connect, but also just learn what other people are up to. So thank you for sharing. So you want to share, or you want to choose the next person, please?
Sure. How about Ian?
Awesome.
Hi. Nice to meet you all from LA. Something I'm excited about, or something that went well this year, right?
Something that went well this year, yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me has been my physical recovery and transformation, because last year, I don't remember the exact like calendar date, year, but last year essentially I had 4 surgeries on my back, and
wow,
was in and out of the hospital about 4 times in 6 months. So the past year has been all about like, health and wellness and doing yoga, and just, I'm in the best shape probably of my life. So that experience showed me that your physical health is like by far the most important and only thing that really ultimately matters. Everything else can come and go. So yeah, I feel good about that.
Yeah. I was actually at Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny last year, and he has us reorganize our value system, and I put health at the top. I'm not sure I've always followed that all year, but it's definitely high in my awareness that making sure I'm healthy is like the most important thing, because otherwise nothing else, you can't do anything else if you're not healthy, right? So
yeah, that experience showed me like you literally, nothing matters, like you can't do anything. So and for this experience, I'm a big supporter of Christina and Deepen, and just love the work she does, and love to experience different programs. So I've been an entrepreneur, started 2 companies, typically work at startups, and now I'm consulting with early stage startup that's going to raise money soon, and also exploring like other opportunities. So I thought it was just interesting to see what this experience is, and totally clean slate, open mind, no expectations.
Awesome. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I think we just have Marcus and Nikki left. So I think Marcus says he's showering and cooking, so we'll let Nikki go next.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm calling in from Tulum, Mexico. And this year actually brought me clarity on my business. I had to move in with my mother because I have type 1 diabetes, and I was living in LA, and it was a little dramatic on her end, not mine. And so she begged me to move in with her. And I haven't lived with my very strong-willed Israeli mother since I was 15. So long story short is I was losing my mind. But then I remembered this really powerful tool that I was given by a coach in Aspen once, and I started clicking my way into a peaceful mindset, and it worked. By day 3, I stopped yelling. So, and I'm not a yeller, but she gets to that point daily. So,
wow.
And not to put it on her, I was losing control, and I didn't like it. So this helped me get back to control. And so because of that, I ended up creating 5 different mindset trainings using this clicker, and it's been awesome. So I appreciate the 3-month torture journey.
Sounds good.
And then I'm here because of you, Patrick. I always like learning from you. You're a well of wisdom, and I love all your subconscious work and limiting beliefs and all of that. So
Awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. So we do this event with Deepen, and I was actually living in LA about 2 years ago now, I guess. So that's where I kind of got introduced to Christina here. So I'd love to introduce her and let her talk about what Deepen is and why we're all gathering and building community together. So.
Thank you, Patrick. You know, I want to answer the question, because that's actually what was going through my mind, is what went well this year, and I'll use that to segue a little bit about Deepen. Is I have been on this entrepreneur journey for 5 years, and Deepen as a company had begun building traction in the Los Angeles area with in-person experiences. We had raised around a seed funding. We were growing month over month. People are getting to know Deepen in the Los Angeles area, and we had to plan to roll out to 46 cities over the next 5 years. It was a feeling of like, finally, all this work is paid off, and it was an office and a team of 8. And yes, it was just like growing. And then March came, and it was like, we were about to close on a next round of funding, and our investors looked and they were like, well, what are you going to do now? And I didn't know. So I spent the first few months in confusion and cooking though, and starting to exercise a little bit more and getting off the rat race of the, entrepreneur cycle. And, in the, I hate to say that the blessings, but when George Floyd's murder happened, there was a big call out to, if you have a community, do something. And I heard that calling, and I was like, okay, well, I have a community. I'll do something. We'll do something. And, 5 days later, we had over 175 people on a Zoom call with 25 members in the community of color and friends joined in to share their stories of racism. And I looked around the room, this Zoom room of 175 people, and seeing, wow, there's, I lived in New York City for 12 years. I had lived in LA for 4 years. I'm here in Maryland right now, where I'm from. And I saw people from all over, and including in Australia and Canada were tuning in. And I was like, whoa, this seems much more interesting to get people to arrive online at a destination rather than, 7 p.m. in Beverly Hills on a Thursday night after they fought through traffic and the chaos of the world. So I'm super grateful that now of being able to pivot and seeing the goodness in this opportunity for us to connect beyond borders. And this particular experience, Co-preneurs, I'm super excited about, because as I was sharing about it today, I realized, wow, this is an opportunity to inject business mastermind and networking within a conscious community. So I'm super excited that this experience is taking place, and we all get to geek out together in what we're creating out in the world, and see how we can collaborate and support one another. And the last thing I'll add is, on Monday we had the the Facebook post of small business, share the links of the things that you're working on. And I imagine we've all have seen them, and the tons and tons of links from, Facebook friends that you had no clue had all this form of magic. And within that link, you're like, there's so much story there. So to have this space to get to share that genius, and to also not separate us, because I think us as entrepreneurs need to come together to build corporations and companies, because that's the only way we're actually going to shift anything based upon what Amazon has, created. It's like, we've got to create our own way of redoing things. So this is just the beginning. And thanks, Patrick, for leading us in this initiative.
Yeah, thank you. It's, I think it was about 6 months ago, we kind of came up with this idea. And I think it's really important this year, because we have to create new businesses. Things are not working the way that they were a year ago. So we have to think outside the box, and we have to support each other to do it. And something like, no one of us knows all the pieces, right? We don't know how to do the finance and the taxes and build the products and the marketing and all sorts of stuff. So we really do have to work together and learn how to do the pieces while we actually support each other. So that is my hope here. So just a really quick background on me is, actually I was living in New York City up until 2016. And then I became a digital nomad and traveled around the world and was working from my laptop all over the planet. So I was in Europe for the summer and Bali for part of the time and Mexico and just going different places. And it gave me the opportunity to go to events just like this in person, where we were able to share ideas without an agenda. Actually, that was part of it, right? It's like there was no agenda. It was just like people wanting to share what they were working on and ask for feedback. And actually, my friend Lisa, who's going to join us a little bit later, was one of the people I met along the way. And she was actually my roommate in LA. And the ability for me to just connect with her and learn about sales from her was really, really powerful. So I just think that this idea where there's no agenda, we're just sharing and then we're getting back like some feedback. The cool thing is actually somebody came up to me when we did an event very similar to this while I was in LA, and he's like, please keep doing this, because like people were in that room were getting connections that they had never got before. They were learning and coming up with ideas they had never thought of before. So I think it's just really powerful. And as this grows, I'm hopeful that we can actually do this in breakout rooms and continue like even deeper dive events. So, but I'm super, super excited where we are able to connect here tonight. And what we're going to do is we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. So we have until about 8 or 8:10 until Lisa comes on and talks a little bit about sales. So I want to give you some value there as well. So we're going to give you each person about 5 minutes tonight to share something they're working on or something they're struggling with, and then use the group as feedback for some ideas that they could get. They could, like, maybe there's a connection that can be made. Maybe there's a resource that can be offered, or even just an idea that somebody can offer you. So I'm going to be kind of strict on the time tonight because we do have a strict schedule, and we do have to end by whatever time zone you're in, 8:30 on the East Coast or 5:30 on the West Coast. So, but would anybody like to start tonight? So make me choose. Otherwise, I might choose Hannah because she was on before, but anybody want to start? All right, Nikki, you want to start?
I'm happy to.
All right, go for it.
So I'll give you my I help statement.
Mm-hmm.
I help entrepreneurs who need clarity on their vision so that they can move to and need to let go of some limiting beliefs that are holding them maybe in a box on how life is supposed to be versus what they're dreaming of how it should be. And I use the clicker to help them with the confidence to get them to, so that they're serving their purpose and they're living a life full of fulfillment.
Awesome.
So yeah, thank you. It's been my own journey to try and get clear on what my offering is. So I know I'm now pretty well versed on which systems and which processes will get people to clarity. And so I take people through a series of questions and exercises that really like hone in on exactly what works best. I have found I've worked with a few different clients already, and I've found that one-on-one seems to be where I get to like the heart of what they want to do with their lives. I wanted to offer it as a group class, but I'm like nervous that I won't really, like, I feel like I need to ask them specific questions to dig a little bit and then see where the sparks are, and I can't do that in a group setting per se.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I'm so new at this and I don't have like a brand name or anything like that yet. So I'm curious what the best way to get started, if to offer like little one-off sessions for relatively cheap for now, just to get some flow and testimonials, and then go bigger and like offer the month-long package at a higher price. Is that like, it seems to be right to me, but I don't know if that's a limiting belief that I can't go right to the high ticket now.
Yeah. Anybody want to share before I offer my advice?
It just made me think of that woman from we did this last month. I'm having a really hard time remembering her name, but she offers essentially what she does. She offers it in little live sections on Instagram. So you go in, and Patrick, you did it. What was her thing about? Do you
I don't
remember?
remember exactly what you're talking about, but I understand what you're saying though.
So anyway, so she would go on Instagram and just offer it live for like one person, and then people could see what she was doing, but not necessarily get the full benefit themselves, because obviously it's very tuned to the individual. I wonder if something like that would help you just to get started.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Spread the word about it.
Yeah, so like even just offering your own like a 3-day challenge or a 7-day challenge. That's actually how this year's gone for me, where I was actually offering some 3-day challenges and 7-day challenges where that allowed me to get more belief in myself that I could do it, and it allowed me to get feedback and some excitement around like the ideas. And then I took that and actually started creating my curriculum from that. So I would encourage you to start thinking about like, what's a 3-day challenge? What's a 3-day like, hey everyone, we're going to do this for Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. And we're going to get in a Zoom call, and I'm just going to share with you a 30-minute lesson about what you want to share with them. Maybe talk about the clicker or whatever on Monday.
Okay.
And then you have 30 minutes to kind of like have them ask questions and things like that. And then you're going to get real feedback from people, because they're going to be asking you real questions about what you're offering, right? So that'll help solidify that belief inside of you. It'll also help solidify the belief inside of them that you can help them, right? Because now they know that what you're offering is valuable. You could start with a free one, say a free 3-day challenge. And then you could offer a cheap, like $100, $97, like 1 week challenge maybe, and then you do it again. So, and if you did $100 times 20 people, you made $2,000 off of that challenge, and it only cost you 5 hours of your time. It was like a 5-day challenge, right? So it's pretty good to get started, and that's where it starts getting exciting. And then you're going to start seeing that, okay, now I have this group setting going off, and now like some people are going to want to work with you one-on-one. I've had people, it's like, I love your group stuff, but I just don't do well in groups. I want to work with you one-on-one. And that's fantastic, because I can actually charge more for it, but they also get what they want, right? So it's just what each person wants. But I actually love group stuff. That's why I do this. But I do offer one-on-one coaching as well. So hopefully that helps. Could that help you get going down a path?
Yeah, it's interesting. So 3 days. So each day on Zoom, I give like some kind of lecture or lesson, and then they can ask questions. And that first 3 days is free. Yeah,
exactly. So at the start of the calls, I gave the intention that for the first 30 minutes of the call, this is the lecture, the lesson part of it. And I gave my lesson. It was like I was talking about Instagram and things like that, authenticity. And then the second half of the call was question and answer and talking about the lesson. So they get an hour of your time, and then they also create a community amongst themselves. So,
okay, cool.
So I'll get started there to stop and move to the next person. But did that help?
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome. I'm gonna actually, I think people don't want to actually offer themselves up, so I'm gonna make you choose the next person if you don't mind.
Dan.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, so I guess what's going on for me right now, I made a Christmas music album a couple years ago, and last year I didn't really promote it, and this year I feel called to promote it a bit more. And I also don't love spending a lot of time on like creating social media posts and this and that. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of a way to do it where I feel good about it, but I'm sort of getting it out there more. And yeah, so I have this like music marketing program I signed up for that could help me. And there's like some ideas there, like trying to get people to buy my CD, or if I just want to just have people hear it and just like kind of build my following, like on Spotify and YouTube and my own website and my own email list. Yeah, so that's sort of like what I'm like in this like last few days. I've been thinking about that. I also yeah, I don't, I mean, I have a budget. If I want to spend that money on it, I can. I mean, I'd rather not put too much into it. So, I looked like on Fiverr, there's a couple people there that would actually create the post and actually do the posting for me. But sort of with Fiverr, it's a little bit hit or miss. So yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with this one kind of music project.
Cool. They may like to offer up their feedback. What do you think of his? I think it's great that you're offering a holiday album right now. I think that's useful, and like I'd rather actually get it from you than and support smaller artists than bigger artists right now. So that's one avenue to go down.
I was just thinking that too. I'd love to hear it.
I would love to hear it too. Play a 30-second or minute version of a song.
Yeah.
Right now?
Yeah.
If you have it, that'd be great.
Yeah. I can share my screen, right?
Yeah, you can. I think you might. Let's see.
You can now.
Okay. 1 second. Let me just get to. I made like a little trailer for it, so maybe I'll just play that. I mean, it's like 2-3 minutes, but I can just stop it after for less time. Okay. Let's see here. Share.
You have to hit the share.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Do you guys see it now?
Oh, so cool. Yeah.
Go for it.
I don't know if you're hearing the sound though. Are you hearing sound?
We aren't. So stop sharing and then hit share again. And there's a button where there's a checkbox to share the sound.
Okay. And this is being stop share. Let me do this again. Share screen. Oh yeah, share computer sound. Okay. So can you see it now?
Yep. There we go.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Super cool.
I actually love this so much.
So many people involved.
Oh, maybe I had about six or seven of my musician friends play on it.
Is that you up there?
No.
Super cool. So I guess what I would say, like, I think that idea of like promoting small artists and like, let's make some Facebook posts and we can support you and find other people that want to support smaller artists, I think is really powerful this year because there's so many, like the Amazons and the Facebooks of the world got bigger this year and small businesses didn't, right? So how can we really support smaller artists? I think is an interesting thing. I'm a big fan of content creation. So just consistent content creation, like making a Facebook post every day to post your stuff and things like that. I personally think that's better than spending money on advertising, but it's a longer play.
Yeah. Well, one challenge I do have is like I'm in Canada and my CDs are at home, and I do have like a guy that's staying at my house. So if I tried to sell CDs, that would be a little challenging. Like I don't know. I mean,
can you sell MP3s though?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely MP3s and everything.
Yeah. What were you say, Christina?
I was going to say posted. This is I love this part of Co-preneur Gathering that we just shared that way that you just did, Dan. Amazing. And this is sending out to Facebook and gonna go on YouTube too. I also dropped the link that this event was starting in our WhatsApp group and in the WeDeepen discussions Facebook group. So go into those groups and share what you're up to, share the album there as well. And that's for all of you and your stuff. Like this is a whole network and community to share what you're doing out in the world and ask for feedback. Like always, I think one of the great ways is to always be sharing in a way of like, what do you think? What do you think about this? Not in a hard sell of like, hey, I need, this registration and limit it to 5 people and you must buy it right now. Instead, just constantly asking people like, what else do you want? Like, how can I make this, that this is something that you would value? Or do you value this? So good stuff. Yeah, please drop the links in all the groups.
For sure.
Okay, thanks.
So thank you very much for that. And yeah, send the links and maybe we can connect and come up with some ideas for you after the event too. So.
Okay.
All right. So you get to choose the next person. We have Hannah and.
Okay. Is that Christy or Crystal?
It's Crystal.
Okay.
But don't worry,
Crystal.
I get that all the time. No worries.
Sure.
Yeah, so a few years ago at a Tony Robbins conference, Unleash the Power Within, I got the idea to start a business revolving around creating what I like to call Zen zones. And this is a multi-sensory space consisting of a large wall mural that's usually nature themed, and then adding decor that brings it to life, and then other multi-sensory aspects to it like soothing music and aromatherapy. And I just recently added virtual reality. So I can actually share my screen as well.
Sure, go for it.
Because it's kind of a different concept. Let me know if you can see that.
Ooh, I like that.
So yeah, I love designing this stuff and like making it come alive. And this could be in someone's home, in their office, in a yoga studio, in a health center. And it can be anything. Like that's the fun part for me, is finding out what kind of like nature really resonates with people and then picking out the things that make it come to life. So, and again, like I just recently added virtual reality this past year. I actually went to Bali and found a waterfall that looks very similar to this one. And I did a 360 camera and recorded video. So if someone doesn't want to look at the static, like this would be wallpaper. This right here is not wallpaper, but it would be wallpaper on a, someone's wall. And then if they want like virtual reality, they can be in a movie with a waterfall actually pouring, or a beach scene or whatever. And so I guess what I'm struggling with is how to monetize it. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm more of the designer and the creative, but financing and marketing, I have very little understanding of. So I'm thinking that's kind of what I'm interested in getting feedback, if anyone has any ideas.
How many people?
Question?
Go for it.
Yeah.
So is this something that you haven't started selling at all yet?
Can you stop sharing the screen just so we can see more of your face too?
Sure. Yeah. So I started out trying to offer it as rentals so people could see it in person, and then imagine it like on a full wall. So I haven't had any like real permanent like installation cells, but I have had like 1 or 2 rentals that people could see it. So the money is going to be in like actual designing and having someone buy it so that they can keep it forever. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm imagining, I guess.
Because I feel like looking at that, if that was a kit, that's something I would totally have for part of my wall. Like if the kit came with a few different things and you had a few different options from like the smallest, cheapest version to something really extravagant and beautiful, I could see something like that selling.
Like, can I ask you to elaborate? Like what would a kit
so if you've got your image, right, whether that's a tapestry or whatever that would be, and then maybe some candles, whatever you throw into the design, is that something that you could put together like a box and ship to people?
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look into that. I mean, I wouldn't be able to ship you like a fake tree, but yeah, that's an interesting idea. Haven't thought of that.
What about a projector, right? With sound of the waterfall or something like that? That's what
Well,
I
I
was.
do, you couldn't see it in the picture, but I do have a sound system. So you'd be hearing the waterfall. I strayed away from a projector because like you would hear like a buzzing or you would see like a light. So I was trying to stay away from technology unless someone just wants to wear it on their head and be immersed in it.
Yep.
But I did consider projecting it first. Yeah.
So there was my friend Gabriel, actually, he was like, I don't want to work in my house if I don't have like some type of nature or something around me,
Yeah.
right? So he actually like bought something very similar to what you just showed, and had like he has a background for his computer, and like it makes it feel like he's actually not in just a blank room.
Right.
So maybe that's a market too, as everybody's trying to like work more remotely right now. That's a market you can go down and like, hey, like I'm going to help you with your make your office space like super zened out and make you feel more calm as you're working. And then it's like, to be honest with you, like me as a I love meditation and things like that now, and I would love to purchase something like you just showed. But also, where's the market to like really go into right now? It might be to start with like people looking to like spice up their office space and make it a little bit more calming. So
Yeah, yeah. I think where I'm getting stuck is like if I'm buying these things for people, how does that service go? Like, would I ask people to pay half up front and then
yeah,
later? Or I'm not sure how that works really.
yeah, I have to think about that.
Mm.
But I think the package idea is a good thing. I think you like have some starting packages, and then you're like, oh, here's this costs $100, and then you want more like custom design. Well, I'm going to work with you more directly, and you figured it out after the fact. So
Okay, thank you.
also hiring a videographer, like to like come in and like have 3 people on those cushions and meditating and like hanging out and be like, oh, this is my house, by the way. Just so like a small video might be super powerful for people.
Someone else recommended that to me too, like an instructional video of like, how do you use a Zen zone?
Yeah.
Come back and share the video with us.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody like me, especially this year, more people are open to meditation, and you're going to want someplace to like feel like they're in nature, and it's really important, especially, I mean, going into winter, people are going to want to feel like they're in a more natural zone rather than, especially those people that's why I left New York City, because I felt like I was kind of in a cage. So like people that are still living in those apartments up there, they want to have more of the nature feel.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
exactly what I was thinking. Like my space is so tiny, but I'm in here all the time because of COVID and because of my job being on my computer. So if I could just like take that wall, unpack something that you shipped me and turn it into a little oasis, oh my God. Yes, please. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I love the idea.
I think you have something definitely very valuable here. And you just got to share the story. I think that's the important part. So where can you start writing some stories about why you like this stuff, why it's important, what it means to you? There's a video that you can go watch on YouTube called Start With Why. Have you ever seen Simon Sinek?
I haven't, but I thought I saw a book cover that said exactly that.
Yeah, so his book, Start With Why, his whole concept is Start With Why. And people buy why you do something, they don't buy what you do. So that video is really powerful because he says like everybody does it from the outside in, and like a lot of bigger companies actually don't even know why they do what they do. They just like do it to make money. Versus when you have companies like Apple and things that have done it from the inside out. I definitely can share that link. I'll do that when Lisa gets here and find it for you guys. So like if you do it from the inside out, it's actually anybody that's watching this, and Dan included, like, why do you want people to have your music? Why do you want people to be listening to this? What does it mean to you? Because the more that we come from the heart, that's where people start buying from. So like, I think it's fantastic and it's beautiful, but why do you do it? What does it mean to you? I think that's really important to think about. So Start With Why is a really great video to watch on YouTube. So
Awesome. Thank you.
So, yeah. Anything else that we can help with right now?
Yeah, actually, a very easy, simple question. I'm trying to, now that I'm pressing reset, I'm deciding if I want to give it a new name. I've called it Inspirational Ambiance for the last couple years that it's been in existence. But I'm kind of considering switching it to Zen Zone, as in like, that's the company name. And then it's like, well, I'm a Zen Zone designer. I can create you a Zen Zone. Like Inspirational Ambiance, I love. And that was my original, feeling about it. But it kind of seems like a mouthful.
Yeah.
Kind of wondering what most people would prefer.
Zen Zone is brilliant.
I like Zen Zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Zen Zone's good. So it'll make it super easy and be like, oh, by the way, my friend designed Zen Zones and I can link you with them and things like that. So yeah, I think that's a great plan.
Cool. Thank you.
The logo you could play with two Z's, right?
Oh, I do have a very pretty like lotus flower logo that has Inspirational Ambiance in gold. But I like the idea of Z's. And this whole reset is perfect because 2020 is like requiring, can't talk today, requiring reset. So this just feels so right. It's like, all right, it's refreshing and starting like all over, makeover, let's do this right. It's so exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a great refresh for all of us. I was traveling around the world and doing all sorts of crazy stuff and not actually building foundations. And I think this is a year to like refresh and reset our lives. So I think that's great.
May I make one more sort of the slogan I kind of see as like something along the lines of like outer peace, inner peace.
Ooh.
Like when you create
for the logo.
Yeah, no, but for the slogan, like better words I'm sure are available, but it's the concept of like when there's peace outside, there's peace inside.
And you have a musician actually in this room here, so maybe you guys can figure out how to collaborate and figure out how to zen out together. I don't know if that's what Dan does, but that's the other thing is like collaborations and stuff. What can come out of this? So
I love that, Dan. If you can give me some soothing instrumentals for like a Zen Zone, I'd love that.
Actually, I just released an album called Afternoon Ambience, so your other name would have matched up.
That sounds right up my alley. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, Dan, is any of your stuff on Spotify? Oh, you went muted. Sorry.
Yeah, my music's up there. I'll put a link to my website. There's links to Spotify, and you can watch videos too from there.
Cool.
Oh, that's amazing. We also have a WeDeepen Spotify playlist. We did a call out to the community and asked for, musicians in the Deepen community are on the playlist. So we can add a song or two of yours to the playlist as well.
That'd be cool. That'd be very cool.
Patrick, will you be sending out the links to that are all in the chat box, or should I take some like screenshots of these?
We will try. I don't know. We have to
just
end
click
this
on
chat.
them. You can click on them right there. Can you?
Yeah, we can click on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will try to keep some of them as well. So, but yes, we have to move on to Hannah. But do you feel supported?
Yes, thank you. I love this community. I've been craving community, so this is perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go find the Start With Why video real quick while Hannah introduces herself. Go for it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm a web designer. That's what I do most of the time, but I'm also an art teacher and I'm also working towards becoming a full stack developer. So I have a lot on my plate right now. And I think the thing that I'm probably struggling with the most is just that, like, wanting to be 5 years ahead of where I currently am and not being patient with myself, not doing things in steps, but just kind of wanting to do them all right now. So like I'm in school for full stack development. At the same time, I'm running 2 other businesses and I'm just going a little bit crazy. So if any of you has any suggestions for like toning yourself down, getting in touch with yourself, having an actual work-life balance during COVID, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Who wants to go first? Anybody?
I can speak to that. I've been working at home or a digital nomad for like 15 years. So life isn't as different for me now, as it's not that different. But what worked for me is really how I start and how I end the day. So having a morning practice, the days when I go right to my social media, or I will go right to my email, or I start working immediately, after a few days of that, it catches up. So I would really recommend having some sort of morning practice. I do some breath work, I do some stretching. Sometimes I just go for a walk. So then at the end of the day, having time before bed, tech-free. Those are the two most important things for me. And then also, if you wanted, at the end of your workday, like at 5 or 6, like a transition to the evening time, like I like to take a break and, have dinner. And then after dinner, I decide like, okay, am I going to work some more? Am I going to work on one of my projects? Am I just going to chill? And so just to sort of separate the different parts of the day.
Right.
Otherwise, it just all kind of blurs together, like the days, the weeks.
And I'm just constantly on to the next project. And then a client will email me at 8:30 and I'm like, okay, I've got to go do that now. And it's just, there is no separation at this point. So.
Yeah, I think again, the subconscious mind that you guys know I like to talk about, like the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes of your day are very important because like they help you program your mind. And so like I've been trying to get up in the morning, and before I get out of bed, I start like saying mantras to myself or listen to a meditation because you're actually closer. You're in like your brain waves are down in theta as you're waking up. So it's really important at that stage. That's where you can start programming. So do you want to program your mind to be crazy? Do you want to open your phone and have all this stuff come into your awareness right away? Or do you want to start the day off calm and start the day off with good feelings and things like that? So it's a practice actually. So like I now live in Miami Beach. I've been trying to like as much as I can get up in the morning and actually walk to the beach and just sit on the beach and watch the sunrise. So that's a really great way to like calm. But if you can't, obviously not everybody can live at the beach. So what can you do to like get your body moving? I actually made a video yesterday about changing our emotional state, which I'd love to share with you guys. You can watch. And moving our body is like one of the things where we focus and how we talk to ourselves. So all those things are very important in the first 30 or 40 minutes of your day. So.
Okay, awesome. I'd love to see that video for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to do more. I'm actually doing a 30-day content.
That go by on Facebook, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else want to share?
A couple suggestions to Hannah, if you're open to them. 3 actually. First, something I like to do is intentionally like plan a weekend, like once a month at least, where it's either do nothing or just solely do fun things. And I feel like that helps me de-stress a little bit, that I have something to look forward to, even if I have a ton of work. It's like, all right, this weekend coming up is just, going up to the mountains or, hiking or something like that. I feel like that kind of breaks it up a little bit. The second one is there's a course that Yale put out. It's called The Science of Well-Being. And they put it out for free. It's like the most popular course in the history of the entire school. And they put it out for free during COVID for the public. Mm-hmm. And I found that really helpful because it talks about savoring the moment. It talks about like the psychology about things that help us find work balance, as well as just happiness in general. I thought that was really fascinating. And then the last thing is there's a woman who does breath work classes. She's starting it every other week now, and she is fabulous. I feel like it's such a great way to release if that's your thing. It's so beautiful, so intentional, and just like I feel very like healed coming out of it every time. Her name is Melody Solomon, and I can send you that link if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, that would be great. And I'll also just write down her name real quick.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of the things are very similar. So different morning, evening routine, like actually turning things off, having no tech, which is the same thing that Patrick was saying, basically, plus having a mantra, doing breath work. I guess I get so caught up in focusing on my work and my goals and where I want to be in the future that I don't focus on my own body and my own like mental state. And it's hard to get to where I want to be if I'm constantly stressed,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, our
All right.
bodies can't live like you have parasympathetic and sympathetic. Your sympathetic nervous system is your like fight or flight. And when we since we don't have like tigers and stuff running after us anymore, like the reason that gets turned on a lot is because of stress we have in our life because of our work and things like that. So we actually have to learn to turn on our parasympathetic, which actually allows us to heal and be in a more calm state. So it's really important to like focus on ourselves and self-love and things that are like nothing else matters. That's why they tell you to put on your oxygen mask first in an airplane. Like nothing else matters if you can't take care of yourself first. So
All right. Well, I think after this call, I'll go figure out what my morning and evening routine will look like, and I'll do that for 2 weeks, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be on the next monthly call, so we'll see how it goes.
I'll send you.
Great.
I think I actually might have sent it to one of the chats you're in. But the Dr. Joe Dispenza morning and evening meditations are really great starts. So I would recommend that.
I have no idea how to spell that last name, but I'm going to try.
Dispenza, yeah. He's great. He's a very awesome link between spirituality and like mindset and meditation with science. Like I love him because he brings science into it and how it all works. So I think he's a really great resource. So
Fantastic. Well, thanks, guys. Who hasn't gone at this point? Nikki, have you gone?
Nikki
Yes.
did. So
Yeah.
so Christina, actually, if you want to go, we would love you to go tonight. And then I think my friend Lisa might be joining very shortly too. So
Sure, I'll go and share. I guess I can use this time of like more diving into what people want. Of the intention for Deepen pre-virus was essentially what we were doing is we looked at like ClassPass as a model, and we were seeing this. So let me rewind a moment. My goal is to reprioritize relationships and put relationships first. Relationships, I believe, are the most underrated and the most important commodity in existence. And what I saw is my journey first began in dating. It was New York City. I was a startup founder working in a woman-centric company, and I had produced 3 concerts and a crowdfunding campaign in an 8-month period of time. And at the end of that stretch, my mother asked me if I was dating anybody. And I looked at her with this blank stare, like, dating? And did you not see what I just did? Like, where do you think this dude is hiding? And I realized in the question, we have to inject energy in our desires. And I was showing up nowhere in the universe to say I was open, willing, interested in a relationship. And at the time, this is the summer of 2014, Tinder was the new hot thing. And I was kind of anti-online dating. I'd never tried it, but now there were friends that I highly respected who were beautiful and were swiping on these dating apps. And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And so I downloaded Tinder. I played with it for 3 weeks, and I found it to be labor intensive and time consuming. I thought there's got to be a better way. Can we just get everyone into a room? So for 2.5 years, we would produce these live dating experiences called Underground Unattached in New York City, and then brought it out to LA. And along the journey, I kept seeing like something's not right. Like anxiety, pressure, expectations would show up in the space. And then so I began, and it wasn't that I thought that like I would just start this and I would find my guy and I'd be happily ever after and everyone else would be. And I'm, 6 years later, I'm single. I'm still in my journey and trusting it and having a lot of faith. And I learned, that, by following the work of Esther Perel and Brene Brown and Helen Fisher and Gay and Katie Hendricks, like just getting my hands on like anybody who could, teach me more about relationships, because, our educational curriculums completely neglect love, communication, conflict, sex, like none of it. And so I saw then, you know, after I pulled back from like the one experience that we were doing and realizing, well, you know, when I went to like a Tony Robbins workshop or any transformational one, there was like this breeding ground, like couples would just ooze out of it. Like when you're in community connecting through things that you're passionate about, and when you're being your authentic self, or you're in the state of play and joy, you're more inclined to attract your partner. And our relationships need to live inside of larger social constructs. They need to be supported by community. Like it's about the whole life. So I can't, you know, and they say that, you know, from a business standpoint, if anyone's ever read The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks says that, you know, 80% of successful, wealthy people actually have awful personal relationships because they don't believe that you can have it all.
Right.
So essentially, you know, Deepen was, then I saw a solution trend of like ecstatic dances and group meditations and all these like brands that a lot of individual entrepreneurs were building, and we were bringing them into one hub, these live experiences. And now that it's COVID, realized, okay, we're pivoting and we're now recreating experiences in the digital online space. And this particular one is really interesting because I don't know, I lived in Los Angeles for a few years and all we did was play, which was great. It was so much fun. And I would always work because I was always working to make the play more efficient and effective for everyone. But now it's like, oh, where's the space that we go after like before we play to collaborate and to grow and build? So I guess the support that I think of as I'm here today, I'm just so inspired by the opportunity that Co-preneurs has. I'm so grateful for you guys showing up to one of these first experiences. And I'm curious, like, what would make this particular event and also other ones, you know, more fruitful for you?
Is it okay if I go? I know
Of
I've been
course.
talking a lot. Okay, so I've been to this twice now, maybe 3 times. Every time it's fantastic. But I always feel like I make connections and then have a hard time following up with them after. So if there was like some sort of group or some sort of way where I could be like, hey, we had a really cool connection. Let's follow this up. Let's keep going. That would be amazing, especially for someone like me who is really bad with names and will often forget who exactly it was that they were talking to. So any solution for that would be fantastic.
Would you know, I put in the chat, there is the WhatsApp group and there's a Facebook group. Is that something do you think that could potentially solve that if everyone goes into there? And
this is it. If everyone is there and participating, then yes. And especially if there was a way to like instantly right after the call be like, okay, jump on there and share your thoughts really quick before we all go off into our lives and lose whatever train of thought we were on. That would be fantastic.
I would love to invite, after we're done here, to, I think that probably the Facebook group is best, but like I put this link in there. So the rest of everyone, the 200 plus people, because it's, you know, we're the start of this, are in the Facebook group, and to share now your experiences of coming, like, hey, I just went to Co-preneurs and now I've been invited here to share what I'm working on with you all. What do you think? And then we all who were just part of this will comment on that to show like that this was a good experience to come to, and we're now supporting each other within it, because it takes a group of people to actually inspire community to continue growing.
Yeah, I think that would be perfect. And also that lets me see like, okay, if I've already forgot somebody's name, if you're saying who you are and what you're doing, then it helps me jog my memory.
Right.
I'm just terrible with names. I apologize.
Awesome.
Yeah, my friend Brian, who actually works for Tony Robbins, since we've talked about him a little bit tonight, he encourages everybody. He actually has challenges that he runs, and then he encouraged people to, like, after the calls, to go in and actually do a live in the group and start talking about something that they discussed. So that's something we could do after these events, is encourage everybody to kind of like talk about the same idea that, or what you learned from the event or whatever, and do a live. You don't have to do a live, you could just make a post, but I think the lives are actually pretty fun and very authentic. So
What would you guys commit to? What would feel good for you after this one?
anybody? Would anybody be willing to, are you willing to make a post, I guess? Is that something that we can
Yes,
commit
I'm willing.
Yeah, down for
I'll
that.
commit to making a post.
to? Okay.
Make a post in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I'll do it there. I'll also do it on the WhatsApp chat.
Yeah.
Christina put links to both, so let's just do it.
And if you are open to doing it on your main page and then sharing it into the group, I think both are good. But I think the group is closed. So you can also, if you wouldn't mind sharing something publicly, that'll allow us to grow it faster as well.
So what, like post a link to the WeDeepen group, or do you want, is there a specific
No,
post for this?
make your post on your wall and then share it into the group. Or maybe, I don't know.
No, I think, well, what I was thinking is that Dan would post his album. Like, hey, I just attended Co-preneurs and I shared about my album. I wanted to share it with you all now here as well. I created this album, blah, 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 and then send it off.
All right, let's do that
Give
for
them
this
the
time.
Well, I was also going to ask if anybody had any ideas. Like I wanted, after our conversation, I actually wanted to have some sort of fundraiser for like artists in need, because like I'm not so in need because I have my consulting job.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, post and ask for some ideas or something like that.
I think that could be really cool. Providing value is like, that's the number one thing about sales and stuff like that, is providing more value. So yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. So yeah, I think Christina's right. Let's just post in the Facebook group this time and see what we can share with each other.
Dan, I will say too, is, of when you say of artists, well, it could be artists in need. I like that. And also, is I know Julia Grace does a lot for people in nursing homes right now. Like, the holidays coming up and families aren't allowed to go and see their family in nursing homes. So it must be a pretty, carolers aren't running through nursing homes right now singing music to the elderly. Maybe there's an opportunity to do
virtual.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that was like, something just came to me, like, let your light shine, right? Like let your, let artists' music shine out of themselves and what they have to offer right now. So how can we share our light right now? And even though everything is kind of crazy. So.
Christina, I have another thought. This may be a post-COVID thought as far as what could be valuable. And to Hannah's point, like, I too have thought like, oh man, I would love to connect with these people afterward in like a real way and maybe in person. And I could see a lot of value coming out of maybe some help in facilitating, like, hey, Nikki and Crystal, I saw that you guys are both in Tulum right now, or you're both in San Diego. Maybe you guys could get together at XYZ place for a happy hour. And that kind of helps, I think, lead the way, because a lot of people don't want to plan or, don't want to reach out to other people because we're shy, so I think that kind of facilitation that gives ideas on how to meet up after these kind of things and start building the community even outside of this, I think is helpful.
Thank you. Yes, I agree. You're in Tulum right now?
No, I'm in San Diego. I think Nikki's in Tulum.
Oh, Nikki, you're in
Tulum.
Yeah. There's a bunch of people in Tulum right now from the WhatsApp group. I guess that's Imagine, where Patrick and you had connected.
Yeah, that's where I met, actually. And then our guest that just arrived actually was just in Tulum with us as well. We were actually staying at what I called an entrepreneur house altogether. So yeah, there's a lot of people in there. So we want to actually transition over to that. But Christina, does that help? I think we can help. Yeah,
thank you all. Super helpful. And we're always open for feedback and ideas and collaboration. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to introduce Lisa Zelnick. She is my previous roommate, one of my muses in terms of sales, and that's why she's here tonight to talk a little bit about sales. So Lisa, we have a little about 20 minutes to go. We do have to end this just before 8:30. So would love to just know your inspiration. And actually, Nikki and I were talking earlier about how to actually get things started, which is kind of your thing. So I'll give it over to you, but like, how do I sell something? How do I sell something, especially online in this crazy time? That's kind of like what I would love to learn from you tonight.
Okay, let's go. I'll give a quick like intro, then maybe you can guide me, Patrick.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I love that because that's how my journey started. It had nothing to do with sales. I think you know, which is I just was always on a mission. Like I wanted to start this nonprofit. And so when I was in college, I'm like, screw the 9 to 5, I'm going to start a nonprofit. But when I got out there, like I really was like a fish out of water. I had no idea how to sell. Like I couldn't even ask someone for $1. Like it was so uncomfortable to me. But the thing that pushed me forward is I have a mission. Like I want to help these people and I will do the uncomfortable. I'll put myself out there. I'll do whatever I have to do to actually like find a way to sell. And I got lucky. I studied counseling. And as I was studying to help the people that I was doing, because I was doing life coaching and this nonprofit work, I accidentally learned how to do sales because I started listening. Like that's all they taught us in counseling. And I would just like stay up all night reading the books. Like, oh, that's how you like hear what people are saying. Oh my gosh, I've been missing what people are saying because they're not saying it. Like, how do you read between the lines? So anyway, I got really good at sales because I just started listening and actually like hearing beneath the surface of what people wanted. So I accidentally fell into sales, but yes, I love sales. If you're in the startup space, like love helping you because honestly, the real battle is not even sales. It's just courage. It's just constant courage, and getting out of your head. So we can definitely talk about that. Or again, what I do now is I consult like companies over $1 million who like have sales teams and they're trying to, scale. So I would say probably the biggest thing is if anyone just like wants to talk. One of my biggest beliefs in sales is like, you honestly probably already know the answers, but sometimes it's just asking a really good question. So even if you're on this call and you're listening and you're like, I don't need sales or I need sales, but I don't know what I need help with, I'd probably encourage you to be like, okay, what is one thing? Like if I could solve one thing, and Patrick and I used to do this as a mastermind, we'd call it like the $10,000 solution. So we've got, 19 minutes. If we could solve one thing for you, for your startup or for whatever your business is, what would be worth $10,000 to you? Or maybe $100,000 or $1,000, wherever you're at in the spectrum. And if you can get really good at asking a question, not like, how do I make more sales? Maybe it's like, okay, at the end of the call, like I tend to like on people, like how do I have more meaningful calls or whatever it is, that would probably be a good thing for you to think about. But go ahead.
You said something very important, which was listening, right? Like I think quite often we want to force our products on people and we're like, oh, we have the best thing ever, but we don't actually listen. So you missed a couple of things that are happening tonight, but Nikki has this clicker. She helps people with coaching, and he has this clicker idea, and like that's really helping people. And then Crystal was going to create something called Zen Zones. So I thought that was really cool, and like helping people like learn how to make a Zen zone in their house actually. And then we have Dan, who was doing a holiday album, and he was like, how do I actually get this out there and how do I actually promote this? So I think it's really interesting to like think about how do we I guess what with what we have, how do we listen to our audience, I guess, more to know what we can sell? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so good. Are you asking the question? Like, how do we listen more? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, and if anyone's come in, is it to figure out what to sell? Is it like how to reach a market? Or is it like how to sell better one-on-one? Kind of in what context do you think?
Interesting question.
Anyone want to chime in on like what space they need more help with? Is it like knowing the offer, knowing the... Dan? Go ahead, Christy. Christy, go ahead, and then Dan can go after.
Oh yeah, so close. It's Crystal, but I get that all the time.
Crystal, sorry.
Yeah, that was one of my questions when displaying my business idea is just how to monetize it, because it's like a design service for people. So if I'm purchasing certain items that would be a design in someone's home or office, is it something that it's like it would be paid for all up front or half, or like I have no clue where to start as far as actually selling it.
Good. So you're the Zen zone, is that right?
Yeah.
Love it. We used to call our house the Zen house. Okay. So when in doubt, like when in doubt, like think it package. It's rare in sales that you think like, okay, this product equals 200 and this, and I know you're doing tangible products, but it will help you in a lot of ways, because then you can say like, okay, this whole experience, think of the thing as an experience or a transformation. Like, what is the Zen zone transforming for people? And what I would do, Crystal, is I would like list out all of these benefits, like just list what are all of these things that it's going to do. And then I always tell people, try to connect the benefits to health, wealth, or relationships, and maybe go like deep on one. Like maybe this Zen thing really is a big thing on relationships, and start to list out the benefits. And then I know this is weird, but you want to like monetize, like how much is that worth to people? So maybe like a romantic date night or something, or like maybe it is like re-sparking whatever in your relationships. Or if there's a Zen space, you can have people over. I know COVID maybe is weird, or maybe you sleep better at night, so there's health benefits. Start to relate it to tangible things people already care about. And then what you can do is your price anchoring, like, oh my gosh, well, people right now pay $5,000 for a mattress, okay, so they sleep better. They pay for supplements. So as soon as you can start to monetize, then you can start to see how big of an experience you're creating, and get in your head a price anchor. So you're like, wow, this Zen space is really worth like $30,000 or like in a month for people, or in a year. And now it's easier to start to sell because you're going to sell to the benefits they care about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's
Any
great.
follow-up question from that before Dan goes?
That was also good. I'm like trying to let it marinate.
Okay, good. Couple of key things just as takeaways. Definitely price anchor. Like you want to make it as tangible as possible. Like, because Zen space, people don't know how much a Zen space costs. So you have to show them by what they know. And then, just keep tie back to health, wealth, and relationships as much as possible.
So if a Zen zone has like different items and they want to switch them out, would it still just be one package, or it's like, oh, if you don't have this, it's a different price or something like that?
When in doubt, simplicity is also a key component in sales. If it's too complex, people won't buy. So like maybe it's like, this is the default, and then people can switch things out. I don't know exactly what you're selling, but try to make it easier. People don't want to make decisions. That's why they're coming to you. So even if you have to just like create it for them, and then there's like an asterisk if they need, like, they just want it handled. So handle it for them and tell them what they need. That's what they want.
Love that. Thank you.
And
then I would love to actually help Dan, because like we have a few weeks of holiday time, right? So what do you think we could do to like get more people to listen to his music in the next few weeks? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Dan, do you want to frame it in the way that would be best helpful? Love it, Patrick. Let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, music is, it's not like my main thing. I have my consulting job, but I just like want people to hear it, right? So I found it a challenge to sort of get outside of my own little bubble and my own group and my own friends. So just to maybe like cut through the noise of other music, so just to kind of cut through and just sort of get outside of my little circle.
Love it. Yeah. So a principle in sales, and we can apply, is that it's not about you. It's like always about other people. So when we think about other people, again, think about their transformation or their experience. Like, what are some common ways that your music might transform people? Is this like, hey, dance around with your family in the, kitchen type of music? Like, take me to like some real individuals. What's their experience or transformation like when they listen to your music?
Well, typically it's a style of world music called Indian classical music. So it's very meditative. It is sort of transformative. It is a little bit of a niche too. So that's why I try to bring other aspects in of like some ambient music, and it's really for healing and relaxation and transformation.
Okay, healing, relaxation, transformation. Love it. So again, now we're getting closer to like words that people care about. So I would go like, okay, where are all the spaces that people are trying to solve that problem right now? And it might be groups of people. It might be like, okay, in the morning, it might be like as they wind down for bed, it might be like, you want to fill a need. So what most people do when they sell music or their thing, it's like, come to my music. Like, let me tell you all the ways my music is different. Again, like people aren't interested in that. They want to hear the language of like, oh, like, wouldn't you like to wake up more, more peaceful in the morning? Here's a song that is great for that. So like you find the spaces that these problems exist, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, I have the perfect type of music that solves this problem. People in all these pockets, they don't care how the problem solved. Your music can solve all these problems, but we want to go where the problem exists. So maybe like join a bunch of meditation groups, you know, or find a place where people are doing healing, breath work. But again, when you present the solution, make sure you're framing it in a way that's the answer to their problem. Because if you say, come to my music, they won't come. But if you say, oh, you struggle with this, here's one specific way that can help you. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does. And as far as like so I made a Christmas CD like for this time of the year.
Cool.
So it's like a mix of Christmas carols, like kind of traditional Christmas carols done in a world music style.
Love it.
So how would that, like, if you can just, you know, you have a lot
Yeah.
of ideas. So how would I frame that? Your ideas to frame that for
I
their
think-
benefit.
Yeah, that's exciting. So again, like you can go and all these Christmas groups, like who loves Christmas season? But I think what I would do then is go in like the breathwork group or the yoga group or whatever. And you say like, oh, like at this time, wouldn't you like to wake up better in the morning? But with the Christmas spirit, like, or tie in like the hook, because now that's a unique way that you're solving their problem, because that has to do with Christmas. And like, there's something that when you say like the holidays, like I think inspires people. So use a couple words that like create that, whatever that magic is that creates your music. So I think of like joy or whatever it is, use maybe whatever those words that your music evokes because it relates to Christmas and add those in with the hook. And yeah, so I think just add it as the solution. It's way more fun. But again, it's about them. It's about like, oh, you can't fall asleep at night. Here's some fun music. And it's even more fun for the holidays or something like that. Does that make sense? Or any notes on that?
Yeah, it does. I don't know if it would be help people fall asleep, but.
And I have no idea, but explain your hesitation for a second, because let's see if we can overcome that really quick. Like, what's the part where you're like, okay, but I'm not sure about this?
Yeah, well, it's just like two things. One is like, what are the words to really evoke? I mean, it's like, I guess I wanted something, so it's kind of fun and light, but it's also it has a transformational quality to the Christmas carols. It's something very unique.
Yeah.
So it kind of mixes East and West, right?
Okay.
So I guess it's just like, what are the words? Like you said, think of a few words. So those words aren't coming to me.
Okay. So this is the thing, and this is not the answer on here, because everyone says, what's the words? It's different for each group. Like it's different depending on every time you're writing the post for a different market, because you're telling the words that they need. So like some people don't want to hear the word Christmas. I don't think you have to use the word holiday. So it's almost like every single time you're writing a new 2-sentence hook of why this is perfect for their group. So yeah, and then you'll see which groups hit, like which group set. I know this isn't what you want to hear, Dan, but it's actually like writing different words for every specific group. If you're writing for entrepreneurs, it's like, this is an intense time of the year. Like, make sure you keep healthy and fun. Make sure you keep the joy and don't lose the fun. Here's a perfect song for you. You know, it's just like every time you have to relate to the right audience.
Right. Okay. And then like, you know, like when you say like join these groups, like you mean just like Facebook groups, just start posting in there, or like just start like go to live event, like these like online events, or like what do you mean by that exactly? Like how to reach out to people in these groups, or do ads, you know, Facebook ads and target them? Like
I don't think you need to do Facebook ads because you're not quite sure that. I would just join millions of groups and then even get there's millions of strategies that work as long as you do it specific. So then maybe it's like, maybe you list like 10 different areas that can solve this problem. So maybe we say yogis, or maybe it's, again, people who are entrepreneurs or whatever. And then one of the other things you can do, another example is, well, let me see if my entrepreneur friend, Nikki, will go live with me. Like, Nikki, can you do like a 20-second promo about like, hey, entrepreneurs, I know you guys are stressed. Here's a song that will keep you, you know, in the zone at night so you don't lose your fun with your romantic partner or whatever. Again, health, wealth, and relationships. So it's, Dan, there's no like perfect answer, but joining groups, you can do lives. As long as we're talking about the problem that people care about, all of a sudden way more people will care about your music than you ever thought, because you're talking about them and their problems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
So last question, any like tips just to kind of go deeper in this, like any not tips, but suggestions like books, or, you know, trainings, videos, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah. For sales, you mean, or like for spreading things?
Yeah, or just to figure out the problem to solve and how to word it and how to put it in terms that people would be receptive to it.
Yeah, definitely. 2 things that are coming to mind for you specifically. One might be there's a YouTube video on like how to make something go viral. Possibly look at like some of that type of content. Again, like what you'll hear is people care about their identity. Like it will help you remember how to start to frame and put yourself in the other person's shoes. So possibly look at that. And to be honest, the other thing I'm thinking about is, I think the book Hooked, but I wouldn't suggest reading that. I can think about it. Like anything that's user focused is what would be helpful for you to think like how to get in the head of like a person, because that's who you're selling to. And the more you can think about that, I think would help your sales. You got this, Jan. When in doubt, just know you are bringing joy and just like remember that. And if you ever get discouraged, just remember why you're doing what you're doing and just keep doing it.
All right, thanks a lot.
Everybody can take something out of that, I think, like to relate it to whatever you're doing, that excitement that you're bringing, that each niche is different, right? So I took something out of that. Like I got to make sure I got to choose a niche and then write a particular post for that niche, right? So I think it's very important that, so I thank you for everything you said, Lisa. So
Yay.
We only
Nikki,
have
did you have a quick thing? I think maybe Nikki had something quick.
Yeah, we have 5 minutes. So
I'll go really quick. Dan, real quick, by the way, you nailed it, by the way, with the yogi, because that's what I heard when I heard your music. It sounds like a yogi studio version of Christmas music.
It is basically.
And she's in Tulum. So, hey, who's in Tulum for the holidays? There's another, like get in those Tulum groups.
Yeah,
just go where the people are.
How fun would be to have your music. And then Story Brand is an essential book for you.
Good.
Yeah. My question is, I've been working now, Lisa's seen my journey a little bit. I've been working now on helping people get crystal clear on their vision and their mission, and then letting go of the limiting beliefs and building their confidence using the clicker. So it's still in there. But what I'm finding is that the people that are responding are like fresh off the boat trying to make something work, and they can't even afford a $200 an hour session. And so if I wanted to try and target like entrepreneurs that are like maybe burnt out and ready to explore a different avenue, where do I start? I was thinking LinkedIn, but I'm not sure how to even just target them.
Yeah. Two things right away that are coming to mind for you is testimonials. Like, do you have like a powerful like video, like a 60-second of like an entrepreneur, someone like me who's like, this click method worked for me? Do you have something like that?
I have a few testimonials, on the clicker already, and just 2 so far on the vision.
Okay. So I would try to get, if that's the market you want to try, like find 2 people or whatever that can give you that testimonial. But 2 questions that you want to ask in the testimonial of like, say like, tell me about why you were hesitant before you started, and speak as an entrepreneur. Like, I'm busy. I've tried all these things. Like I've read all the mindset books in the world. That's something I would say, and then talk about like what changed their mind. So you always want to talk about like what then got them over the fence. And it's like, but like, this was different. This was blah, blah, blah. This, and then the other thing to add in there, like a price anchor, like, oh my gosh, I've done, thousands of dollars in counseling and I haven't been able to change this belief, but working with Nikki for X hours did that. So always like, you want people that can speak to the journey, because if you want to attract me as an entrepreneur, I need to see another entrepreneur has done it, and that it like really is valuable. Because I think that's probably the hard thing, Nikki, is it's price, but it's seeing the value behind what you're doing. So you need as much like for sure confirmation that this will work. So testimonials are good, or any like even written, possibly you can start to write like articles, but just think proof. People want to see proof. That's what will get people over the money edge too. Proof.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, go Nikki.
So we're about at our time. So I really appreciate, Lisa, thank you for coming on and talking about sales real quickly. Hopefully that was helpful for everybody to get moving forward in the right direction. Sales can be actually really fun. Sales, because it's like selling with love, is actually really important and very healing for people if they actually take action. Like Lisa and I have gone to many Tony Robbins events. I've given that man so much money at this point, but I'm okay with that, right? And like but we can do that for other people. And that's what I hope that you guys got some value out of tonight as well. So thank you again, Christina, for hosting with us. And please tell your friends about it. And we will hopefully join all of you on the Facebook group and have a great evening as well.
Yeah, and I'll add just real quick, because I dropped just for anyone who missed it, I dropped the Facebook group in here. Lisa, thank you for coming out and joining us. That was amazing to witness. Please come back and definitely join us again. And also in 30 minutes, we start Mind Sports. We're debating love and politics. So if you feel like sticking behind your computer for a little bit longer, we have 6 people who are going to debate and then bring everyone into the conversation around how do we further inject love into politics. Is that possible? We don't know, but we're going to discuss it this evening at Mind Sports beginning in 30 minutes.
Awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
And Crystal, Dan, or Hannah, if you guys, I know it's hard to like get excited in 5 seconds. If you need any help, I'm happy to help you on Instagram with sales. Or Patrick can help
Thank
you.
you.
He's a sales pro now. He's got you.
No, thank you very much. Like
Thank
you've given me so much this year. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you all. Bye.
All right. Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Bye.
Bye.